Excuse me. I got.
Crouch, bind, set.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Adam.
This is the Podcastaways, Season 3, Episode 2. Today we're going to talk about just some general notes that have happened over the past few weeks. We had our annual general meeting for the club. We're going to talk again about the banquet, which is our upcoming award ceremony for the previous year, as well as about the upcoming tournament. And then we also have a special visit video from our number one guest, and our number one fan, I should say, Master Blaster.
You look tall today.
I am very tall today. You know what? I bet if I stand up right now, I'll be the same height. Oh, no, never mind. I still can go. Look at me go. I'm still a growing boy. You know what? Lots of calories.
What do you want to do first?
Well, I say we should get through the basic stuff first, anyways, and then get into the video because that's the fun bit. Buy your tickets for the banquet. The banquet is on February 1st. It's at Germania. It kicks off at 7 p.m. Your tickets are $35 a person, so $35 for you and $35 for the plus one if you're bringing one. Comes with food, and I don't know if there's an open bar, but there should be.
So there's not. I think you get a couple of.
Drink
I think
tickets.
the beer and things supplied by Seventh Son is free. Don't quote me on that. That might be a lie. Or there's a certain number of drinks for it, and then the bar is open. It's a cash bar for liquor and things like that. It's a full bar. You can have whatever, and drinks are pretty cheap because they're like a non-profit or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sick. I'm eating shoes.
So that's the one announcement out of the way. The second one is that the Classic, which is our annual tournament, is being hosted at the last weekend of April, so the 26th and 27th. It's a 2-day tournament. Women's brackets, men's and women's brackets. There's a prize purse of $3,000 that's going to be split among the premier divisions. If you're interested, reach out to us on here or at one of our social media platforms to sign up. We can get you instructions. On top of that, if you're interested in sponsoring the tournament as well, definitely reach out because we'd love to work with you on that as well. But the really big announcement that came out of the past weekend more than anything else is what happened. We had our AGM, and we have a really big announcement from that thanks to some of our sponsors. Do you want me to talk and announce that and let you take a break?
I'll try.
Come on,
So the good thing is we got the new sponsor, Surfside Vodka. Thank you very much. That's what I feel like. Surfside Vodka, new sponsors. So we have got rid of the Truly jerseys. There are still some available if you would like to purchase one. They are $40. Hang on.
Big 40.
Hang on, I got one.
It's down right here.
These are the old ones we're getting rid of. This is Jonesy's one. I need to send it to him.
So they bought these kits right as I first joined the club. So these are like the first ever, not the first ones I ever wore.
Smells good.
The first jersey I ever wore were the Crispies, which are all white with a red collar.
Which are missing.
We don't know what happened to them.
If you did steal them,
the last time I seen them myself in person was actually at the Cleveland Beach Rugby tournament.
That's what
we wore them last win, but I missed those jerseys. But anyways,
so new jerseys, which will go here. Thanks to Sam, who has organised the design and all of the fundraising for that. It means that the club didn't have to pay out at all for them, which is really good. We've got sponsors. We've sold both sleeves, main sponsor, and then some shoulder sponsors to Hank. So we should, all in all, we don't have to do that. And the main thing, which you're really excited about, is now that other than them being a set for the team, if you would like your own jersey to buy and to wear or to play in because the number that you get played in doesn't fit, for example, if you are a big boy and playing a little position, or a little position and little boy in a big position, you can buy one. So we're sorting that out. That'll be on the website soon. I'm done talking.
But that's very exciting. So they should be here in time for the Nash Bash tournament, which will be the big reveal. But then, like I said, that store should be going live sometime soon. The product is coming from a brand called Trident, I think it's called. And again, they're going to have that live store for us, so it's just a matter of whenever that gets released. So very, very exciting stuff. But without further ado,
you like them because they're
hoops, which is really what I wanted.
They're old school.
Yeah. They are. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
Very excited. But they remind me a lot of some of the NPC kits from New Zealand a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the club. I don't know, but
they're a bit old school. They look a bit like old like Gloucester rugby shirts and stuff. So got the right colors.
This is. I know we didn't discuss this as being a topic, but I wanted to hear. I know you can't talk too much. Dan Kelly is possibly going to Munster. Like, as in, has been meeting with them and has been offered a contract and maybe going to Munster.
I mean, why?
Good or bad thing
for him or for Leicester? For him, good. I don't know if he'll get much more game time at Munster than he has at Leicester. But Leicester obviously doubled down with Checker, is double downing on
Parise and
Kata. Yeah. Soleimani Kata. So I think, like, for him to get more game time, like Harry Potter and
Harry Potter's now in
what was his name?
Australia.
Yeah, so he went to Australia.
And Nick Dolly
Guy Porter.
Nick Dolly also went to Australia, which
Right.
he's
That
from.
was really sad that he broke his leg and then
Mhm.
basically didn't play again for Leicester. But yeah, I mean, Leicester Tigers. If you're not a Leicester Tigers fan, then
You should be.
yeah,
We should have a fan.
but I mean, their podcast is really good.
The big controversy with him, though, is that he has played for England and he's a center, which is a position that England needs. He's not been getting any game time for England for whatever reason. I think he's probably a bit undersized for the international stage. That being said, I think either one or both parents are Irish, and he is Irish qualified. And I don't know if he played English under 20s or Irish under 20s, but he is Irish qualified. But he's played for England at some point.
Yeah.
So he's got to wait for that 3-year cap window to go through. But like Munster doesn't have good. They've got I think his name's Tom Farrell, so they've got their own Farrell to get rid of, who's older. They've got Nankivell, who's an old Kiwi, who's in his like late 20s, early 30s, so he's not going to be around a long time either. They don't have a lot of good centers, so
yeah. I mean, the problem with
sucks for Leicester.
Maybe he'll get more time, more game time at club level, but like that's the thing with England's problem with centers is that they've for the longest time they played two fly halves with George Ford and Owen Farrell playing 10 and 12. That they only really had one center, and no one's going to keep Manu Tuilagi out of the team. I mean, Faye Waboso being injured is
bad.
We talked about this last week, but like he's a quality pick for everyone, so it does open up a spot. But Dan Kelly's not going to get in there above some of the other guys.
Leicester's going to be hurting though because they also lose Montoya at the end of the season.
That's terrible.
Pollard's leaving, which they're still. I know you won't be happy, but they're still talking to Owen Farrell about him coming to Leicester, which will be huge. I would love that.
I was going to start supporting Bristol again.
And then not Ollie Chesham, but his little brother just left Leicester as well and is going to Japan to try to make money and coming back. He's not getting picked for England. He's not starting. Why would you stay? Yeah, your brother's better than you. You might as well wait until he's.
Well, the problem is with those is they play the same position. So yeah.
Both lock and they're both captains at U20 level 2. But anyways, I just thought you'd think that was interesting. But Master Blaster time. He's got a Scotland rugby jersey on.
Yeah. So
play rugby.
So I jokingly said to
Master Blaster.
Well, so I was in the gym the other day, and he sent me texts. Something like it was like. Weird question, but what is a Lions tour? So I explained what the Lions were to him. And he goes, what about this? What do you think of it? And I'm like, dude, just save me all these questions and send it to me so we can do it on podcast. Or better yet, record a video, send it to me and we can answer them live. Great. And he goes, oh, I'll do that. So he sent us a video. But he told me to watch it so that I was prepared for the questions. I haven't watched it. So we'll watch it now and we'll record our responses. You talk to this camera, okay. I'll talk to my camera. And then I don't know if it's going to pick this sound up, but we'll see what happens.
What's up, Podcastaways? It's the Master Blaster. Been a long time. Last year was crazy, just like you, Thomas, except you showed up and I didn't. Anyway, after last podcast, I had a couple questions, and I'm sure maybe some of the other newer folks that have only been in 2-3 years like me might also have some similar questions, or people that are just finding the Podcastaways. So jump right into them. In the last episode, you guys mentioned the Lions tour. I had never heard of it until this year. So if you guys could just give like a quick synopsis of the Lion tour, kind of what it's all about, how it plays into the World Cup and through scheduling and all that. And if you could, just a little bit of history on it, like what you guys know about the Lions tour. I know that goes way back. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Let me show you my new Lions jersey I got for Christmas.
While he does that, I can give a little bit of an explanation. So the Lions are a British and Irish rugby team that is a touring side.
Look at this.
There's the New Jersey. Come on, bring it a little more in the filter. But they are formed up of the Irish rugby team, which does include the Northern Ireland.
So 4 provinces.
Wales, England, of course, and then of Scotland. So you'll see they wear a red kit, which is for the Welsh colors. It has hints of white for England. It's got blue for Scotland and green, usually green. What is it, like socks?
So the socks are blue socks with a green trim, which
for
is
Ireland.
And then white shorts for England.
And they can select from the 4 of those nations. Typically, they tour Southern Hemisphere teams exclusively, I want to say.
Well, it goes in a rotation between the big 3 Southern Hemisphere teams. There's talk about it going, now Argentina are better, and now France are better. There's been talk in recent years about them swapping, but traditionally it's South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, every 4 years, and it's the in-between year of World Cup. So 2 years after a World Cup, right. 2 years before the next one. Andy Farrell, obviously coach of Ireland, is taking a hiatus in the Six Nations from the Ireland coaching to become the Lions coach, and basically he'll be at pretty much every big Six Nations game that includes one of the 4 teams. He'll be there to pick his squad. And there's been some like shock things throughout the years of like, you know, basically Clive Woodward did it and basically picked all of the England team and like 2 other people. And sometimes it's a big tour over like 6 weeks, and sometimes it's only a month, and it's changed throughout the years, and it's a bit different. It's always fun. They're not like they're exhibition games, right? So have you heard me talk about the 99 call? This was,
the fight.
So the 99 call was a thing back in like the 80s and stuff, where like the South Africans, they used to be so they would go on, the Lions would go on tour and they'd play like some of the provincial teams. They go and play like What About the Sharks or the Cheetahs, whoever they were before, like the old teams. Then they would go and play their main games, like as warm games against the Springboks. So the provincial teams used to go out and basically just try and hurt them, so that then the Springboks they'd get injured and the Springboks would win. So to counteract this, the 99 call was if someone picks a fight and someone on the Lions team calls 99, you find the closest player to you when you throw a punch. So you have and the theory was they can't send all 15 of us off. Anyway, so that's the thing, is like, so just to basically say, like, if one of you is going to fight, all of you have to fight, and then we're going to defend ourselves. Anyway, but the Lions tours are good. The last one was to New Zealand 4 years ago. This one is going to Australia.
Last one was to South Africa.
Was it? My brain's not.
They won 1 game and lost 2. This year's to Australia. It's like they usually pick 30 or 40 players.
It's about a squad of about 40. 45.
Usually they'll
keep talking. I'm going to look at my old jersey.
They usually have like one player that like has not played for any of the national teams. They'll pick like a random like star player in. And then usually one of the big traditions, which they do on their tours,
2017. So then it was South Africa. So
is like they have a stuffed animal lion, and whoever the youngest person that goes on the tour has to carry that with them, and they treat it like a rugby tour as well, which is neat. But then the other thing that's very interesting with the Lions, outside of competing with like Argentina and France being a lot better now and being able to maybe be worthwhile opponents. One of the things that I always find interesting with the Lions tours is always seeing how it affects the Six Nations. Obviously, we know this year Andy Farrell is going to be coaching them, and so I'm sorry, not the Six Nations, but the summer games. Because now that when the Lions games happening over the summer, Ireland is going to lose their entire team to the Lions, so they're going to have nobody in. I think England will lose a huge chunk of people. I think Scotland will too, and I doubt Wales will, obviously. But
Wales will lose a few. Scotland will only lose.
You think Finn Russell will go?
I don't know why he wouldn't go, because you need to take more fly halves than you do anyone else, really.
I see Marcus Smith going, I see Sam Prendergast going, and I see Jack Crowley going, is my guess for the 3.
I don't think Jack Crowley and Prendergast will go. I don't know. Marcus Smith will definitely go. Who knows if your man from Saracens, what's his name?
Owen Farrell. He'll be as a squad player.
No. The other one.
Fergus Burke,
Mr. New Zealand.
He's got to get capped for Scotland first.
He doesn't have to be capped.
That's true. That's
like,
true. He's qualified.
As long as you're qualified for one of those countries. But yeah, so who knows? We've talked quite a lot about this, but
that's the Lions.
We can cut some of it down. But the Lions is always fun. I like it. It's, because it's real, but it's not real. It's like there's no, it's exhibition games and stuff like that. The warm-up game is against Argentina in Dublin this year, which would be awesome to go to.
Normally that doesn't happen. Normally all the games happen in the country that they're playing.
Well, sometimes there's a warm-up game against another country.
I think that happened on the last tour.
Remember we went through this last week? One of them was like, was the captain against Argentina. I think they played in France one year as like a warm-up. Okay. One time they went to Japan on the way there to play as a warm-up.
They did play Japan on the way to South Africa.
Yeah, so there's always warm-up games and things, and it's usually really good rugby, and it's always a bit different because it's how does a squad come together that's like a super team, basically. It's like seeing the Barbarians or something.
Globetrotters.
Yeah. Hope that answers your question, Master Blaster.
Yeah. On to the next.
Next question. I saw there's a couple new laws as far as like conversions and scrums, I think. Like time limits on all that. Could you guys go into that a little bit along the lines of what the new laws are, and how you think they'll affect gameplay. I really don't that I don't know if they'll make it down to our level or not, but just what your guys' thoughts are on the new laws and if they'll improve the game or if they'll be kind of a detriment on the sport or what.
Well, so the two new rules he's talking about, well, three new rules he's talking about is the quicker time. It takes you 30 seconds to set up for a scrum or a line out now.
And
You
you
can't take a minute.
So you get only like one reset now too, right?
Yes, and that's it, and it's going to turn over. The other thing at a scrum, which is going to be really important, is the offside line for the scrum half, which is going to completely change the game. It doesn't directly come from that swinging arm in that Heineken Cup game. Not Heineken Cup, whatever it's called now, the Champions Cup.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that highlighted it was that. So instead of the scrum middle guy, instead of me being able to come as a scrum half past our front row to the back foot of basically your front row.
Draw it along here. Here's the scrum. Show them.
So instead of me being able to come past our front row around here to compete with the ball, I now have to be 2 meters back from here. So I have to be behind our back row.
So the scrum half and the 8-man have a lot more time on the ball to make a pass out
On the
or to
attacking
make it a
team.
carry. Yeah, on the carry out.
The impact of that is that instead of the small, quick scrum half who has to get the ball away or dodge things, what they think is going to happen, which probably will, maybe not at our level, but definitely at international level, is you're basically going to get another 8-man because you're not going to get the ball and have to be quick and like finesse passing. It's going to be get the ball and you've basically got another forward that can run, pick up and go. So potentially gone are the days of the short, scrappy little scrum half, and basically you get another forward.
And then on the other end of that, you've got to probably rework some of the defensive structures because you do have now an extra defender with the scrum half coming back into the line who has to back up and can help push things out. So there are some give and take with that. And as far as the scrum resets go, at our level, I don't know if those are actually being put into place. So I don't know if that's going to affect too much of what we deal with. As far as, but like on the international / club, like pro club level, scrums to me are not even really like a set piece anymore. It's just a way of milking penalties. And teams are going to continue to do that because now that even though the speeding up of things is great for the quality of the game, because they've now changed that policy where it's after like 1 or 2 resets, it's either the defending or the attacking team gets the ball, like a thing. There's now even less of an incentive to get the ball through the scrum because you just get the ball at the end if you reset it enough times. So I don't love that.
You've got to. There's more onus on the front row keeping their shape to prove to the referee that they're not the one dropping.
Right.
But everyone else in the scrum can effectively just wait for a reset. Yeah. Who knows? It will change. We'll see. It might be one of these laws that there's a loophole in it. Someone will find the loophole in it, and it will and there'll be a game where a big upset will happen, and then they'll edit the law.
I think the one with the scrum and the 9 defending it, I think what we're going to see with the law change to that, I think it's coincided well because they've changed the policy on using it. But I would be very interested to see if like the ball would stay with the 8-man at the back of a scrum a lot longer, but teams aren't really pushing each other over the ball anymore. That doesn't really happen. No. So I don't really see. Again, it's to me that just going to be a stall tactic. I can picture the box doing that right now with Jasper Wiese sitting there with the ball between his legs, just waiting at the back of the scrum until they use it, like wasting 5-10 extra seconds on the back of every single scrum because the 9 can't go into them anymore and try to get the ball out and fight with them. But
the 9, the defending 9 couldn't go and reach for the ball, but he doesn't.
Be in the face.
He's Jasper Wiese basically then doesn't have to drop down, get the ball, turn and give. He can drop down, get the ball, set himself up for a run. Yeah.
I think as far as other policy change, like law changes that have happened in the past year, there was tackle height has been changed to being sternum height, I think, and below. That has been enforced at our level to some degree anyways. I think it was trialed in England, but is now
that's right, tackled up.
Got hit in the head, yeah. But so that's one that has definitely been affecting things. And, you know, at our level, people high tackle a lot. There's a lot of absorbing tackles, especially like people that have not come from contact sports. There's a lot of people that'll be very upright and just kind of catch tacklers because they don't know what they're doing. So that has been penalized a lot. That happened a lot in the Detroit rugby game when we actually went to Detroit. A few of the carries I had, which normally I get high tackle because I'm already short anyways, but like they were standing absorbing tackles and they were still getting called as high because it was above my sternum height. So that changed. And then I think that's pretty much it as far as changes ago, I can't think of anything else that's really come across. I mean, the 50-22 has happened like 2 years ago now.
The 50-22, the
You can't call a scrum
You can't
from
call
a
a scrum
from
from
a what is it called?
free kick.
Yeah, from a free kick, and that's basically it that I can think of.
um,
There's timers on conversions now, so you have to kick the ball over and convert it, which I think is one of your questions. There's a time limit now on conversions, and so I think it's a minute, and that has affected some games. Like it affected France negatively in the World Cup with Cheslin Colby being able to run up and swat the ball down before Ramos could kick the conversion. There was another instance of that happening too, where someone timed out. Was it Bernard Foley or something like that? Timed to kick out and caused his team the game. I can't remember what it was, but there's something else like that too. But those are the law changes, and again, at our level, I don't think they're going to trickle down and affect us in a negative or positive way. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do much of anything.
I think it's only at the elite level where those minutiae of changes, or those the difference of a yard or whatever, makes a big difference. At our level, it's which is something I think, especially with tackle height thing, is like none of us are professional sportsmen and stuff. Like, we're doing our best. Like, some of the referees, you get a little bit. I'm gonna pretend I'm Matt Campson and just bullshit some referees now, but some of the referees get a little bit whistle happy with telling us off for tackle heights. Some of them go, "That was a high tackle, but I'm not going to send anyone off for give penalties and stuff. Just keep them low, fine." But like, when you've made 2 or 3 tackles in a row and they're all
pretty egregious,
whatever. Okay.
Last question. Six Nations is right around the corner. Everybody's pumped. Now squads have been announced, so I want to know what your guys' opinions are. Have you changed in what you think the rankings will be from the last, podcast aways? How do you guys feel about things like, obviously Ireland's missing Johnny Sexton and Scotland missing Stuart Hogg, but how do you think England will fare without Cole or Marler in their front row, things like that? I haven't had a chance to look into France's squad yet or anything, but just what are your guys' thoughts and opinions? Updates, let me know. I obviously don't have a horse in the race at all. So anyway, good talking to you. Let me know. I look forward to hearing from you.
Well, let me go first.
Okay.
It doesn't change my opinion at all. I still think after that first game in Dublin, we will know who's going to win.
Okay, so my rankings have changed slightly. So that being said, they have maybe somewhat still similar, but they're slightly changed in the sense of, I think Ireland is now going to be far worse than I thought they were originally going to be. And the reason that I say that is, number one, Andy Farrell has stepped away, and I'm sure Simon Easterby is going to be fine. That being said, he's probably going to be very conservative and not change anything that they do. I was looking through their team sheet. They are a very, very fucking old team. They're an old-ass team, and that is a problem. And that's what I was saying earlier. It works out well because they're going to try to win the Six Nations, and in the summer when they're all gone for the Lions, they're going to be able to blood the younger guys. But I think, you look at the back row. They picked Peter O'Mahony still again. They're picking Cian Healy still, who should not be playing for Ireland anymore. They have they're lucky getting Dan Sheehan back, but I don't think Ronan Kelleher was very good. And he's not very old, but he wasn't particularly great. Bundy Aki's up there in age. Gary Ringrose isn't very young. Henshaw's not very young. Gibson Park is not very young. Craig Casey's injured. Doris isn't very young. Maybe Doris is younger than the other ones. Vander Fleer's in his 30s.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with. I don't like.
I know the 30s, but sorry, but that's something that's been more on my mind when I saw that Irish roster. They also, if you look at their back row, they selected 4 number 6s. They have I think Sam Prendergast, the other brother. They have O'Mahony. They have.
Is it Tom Prendergast, the forward?
I think it's something else. And there's 2 other ones, 2 other 6s.
What's the scrum half one called?
This
fly half one called?
Sam.
So
no. Sam Prendergast. It's not Tom. It's something else. Who knows? Maybe it is Tom. Maybe
Joe. Probably Joe.
And then
Joe's an Irish name.
I don't know. So I don't think Ireland is going to be. I think they're still going to be a very good team, but they're not going to be the Ireland of 2 years ago.
Well, I never said that. That's why I didn't think they were going to win.
France, I think, will still win it. I think I'm going to hold true on that one. Their team across the board is still very strong. However, the one area that they're very weak is the one area where Ireland, for example, is very strong, and that Ireland has a very set group of centers with Ringrose, Aki, and Henshaw. France does not have Dante. They don't have Fiku. They don't have anybody. I think they have combined 3 caps. Just hasn't been playing well.
Oh,
Racing has been pretty awful. So I think that's where they're going to be targeted at. So putting Aki up against a 3 cap 22-year-old is going to be a great time for Ireland. England, are the dark horses of the whole tournament to me. They have the youngest squad, or maybe with the exception of Italy, across the board. They have the youngest squad across the board with, I mean, especially getting rid of Marler, getting rid of Cole. That age profile comes down quite a bit. You've got Marcus Smith, who's very young. They've got a great young back row. Their front row is pretty young, relatively speaking, with Finn Baxter coming through. Genges, and I think Genges maybe in his 30s. I don't know how old Genges is, but Genges is up there. Jamie George, I don't think is a great selection. Itoje is the captain for England, which I think is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that.
And I think he's going to be a great driving force for the team in that regard. I think where England's main weakness is, like similar to France, as I was saying, is they just don't have good centers, and I don't really like Freddie Stewart, even though I'm a Leicester fan. He doesn't do anything that's going to win them a game.
Well,
So I think England are very strong in that regard.
Just on the Freddie Stewart thing. I mean, I do tend to agree that he needs to add.
He's played a lot
something to
better
it.
though.
He was man of the match the other day, last week in the Ulster game, and that game was amazing. Like, as much as I dislike, I know we talk about Leicester Tigers a lot, but as much as I dislike Ollie Hassel-Collins, he scored 2.
He did. He was good.
The other winger scored 3.
No.
Bassett scored 3, and then Freddie Stewart scored and was the man of the match because he created all the tries as well. He gave a couple of really long, like 20-meter plus passes to just put the wingers in the corner, and all the winger had to do was dive on it. I'm just looking at England's team now.
And then Wales.
Henry Slade is Henry Slade really fucking getting?
I don't think Slade should be selected, but he's on one of those central contracts.
Of course he is.
So Wales, I think, is going to be very poor again. They kept Warren Gatland, who is their coach. I don't know when he started coaching, but he stopped in 2019. He was very good up until that point. They won several Six Nations. They did well in the World Cups. Obviously, they didn't make it to the finals, but I think they made it to the semifinals under him at least once. And then since he's returned to coaching, he's been 5th and 6th place at the Six Nations, 6th place being last year, fifth place before that. And if you look through his roster, he 180'd from selecting younger guys to now going all the way back to what his original crop was. Like he pulled in Talupe Falatau again. He brought Liam Williams back. He brought what's the center who plays at Saracens? Who plays for them? He's got Nick Tompkins. He's got the bad hairline. They brought him back. Again, I think Gatland is picking a short-term squad because he probably knows his job is gone if he can't win a Six Nations game. Scotland is gonna keep being Scotland, where everyone thinks it's finally their year to break it, in my opinion, and they're just not gonna ever do that. At least not with this current group of people. I know you mentioned Stuart Hogg. That guy belongs in prison, so don't. He's not on the team for a reason. But Finn Russell's still really, really great. They've got a great back row.
That's the cold intro right there.
They've got a great back row. They've got a great front row, which I imagine Xander Fagerson and Skuman will both compete to be Lions. They don't have any great hookers. Their second row is okay. Their backs are really, really good, but they just can't. They're inconsistent. And Italy is also kind of all over the place. They had a very good Six Nations last year, and they had Menoncello, who was the player of the Six Nations.
Limoncello, that's a drink.
Limoncello. I've never had one of those before.
Yeah, they've got limoncello, cappuccino.
But they're okay. Again, I think they'll probably beat Wales and then lose to everybody else. But I don't know. That's my prediction for the Six Nations. So that's somewhat.
So who do you think? Sorry, I completely. So you still think France is going to win?
France, but I've changed my order, and I think that Ireland will actually come in 3rd, and England will go to 2nd.
And then
probably Italy, Wales. And Scotland's probably behind Ireland.
So you're going France, England,
but
Ireland.
Scotland will still beat England because they always do somehow. And Duhan van der Merwe will still get a hat trick.
Where is it? Do you know if it's at Twickenham or?
It was at Murrayfield last year, I want to say.
Okay, so it's at Twickenham. So I mean,
the Alliance, you mean?
Oh yeah, Allianz Stadium, Twickenham.
What does that brand do, by the way?
They're an insurance company.
No.
The German insurance
Free
company.
Luigi.
Jesus Christ, let's probably cut that out.
No. All right, anyways.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Allianz Stadium. The one in Munich is Bayern Munich and people like the soccer.
I thought that was Red Bull was Munich.
No. Well, I mean, it might change. I don't know. This is when I used to go skiing.
I don't know soccer either, so.
Neither do I.
But hopefully that answers your questions about the Six Nations.
Oh yeah, there was a question.
I think that was pretty broad. But I think that's pretty much how it's going to go out. I think that that's the Six Nations. I don't think there's anything more to say about that. Starts up in 3 weeks now?
I think the first game
last week of January.
The first game is the 30th of January because it's usually the first weekend in February, but because February 1st is a Saturday.
And I believe are we going to
It's the
What bar are we going to for that?
I think that's still up in the air.
Okay, bar still being decided upon.
I think the bar. So I want to say no. So hang on. I do know the plan. So the plan was we were going to go to Woodlands Tavern.
Okay.
We went to AGM in that back room. Problem is
No audio.
you can't hear it. There's no audio. I'm not going if I can't listen to it. So we're gonna talk. Larry's gonna sort something out. That's all I know. Larry will sort something out.
Larry should rent us out a movie theater.
We should watch it at Larry's house. Larry's
That's true.
basement, the
Basement.
dungeon. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget the practice start up in March.
Sorry, sorry.
In March. Oh, never mind.
No, it's coughing because it's pretty.
Oh.
If I'm coughing, yeah.
Anyways,
Do it again.
I don't know what to say now.
Just I do the outro.
Anyways, this has been episode 2. Thanks you guys for watching. As always, we practice Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. at Rhodes Park. Practice is starting up in early March. Details more to come on that, and we will see you guys out there. Peace.